took the tone of the horse and put it almost at white, because you don't want white because you cannot highlight white. You know, so whites on horses, whites on eyes, whites on teeth aren't white. They're almost white. And you won't notice, trust me. So here you can just see me painting in where the markings should be. And you'll see me forget about the face, and I think I do go back to it. I'm like, oh yeah. Me just checking all my layers. I always do. You'll see me do that quite a bit. I'll flick through the layers and it's just me looking at them. Forgetting the face, so go back and doing that. Just trying to fit it to how the drawing was. Fiddling with my layers. There you saw me use the layer lock and using a tone illustrated, filling in just with a soft brush to just get that tone. Okay, carry on. I think this is me doing the hooves, so new layer, name it, and then colour in the hooves. Again, I feel like I've done a really bad job on this horse because the hooves are really bulgy. Now here you can see round the white, so just using a rubber I went round the base and the dark markings because that's what was causing the problem. So just deleting it just so you could just see the white. And as you can see, when I put my shading back on, there's barely any shading on the white legs, and that's because I forgot to do shading all the way down because I was like, oh, it has dark legs, they'll never notice I haven't shaded it. Until I put the white markings on and I realised I hadn't shaded them, so I went round and shaded. The hooves, quite easy, you just go along the bottom where the shadow would lie and then up, down, which is just how I do it. It's probably not the best method and it doesn't look great, but it's good enough, I think, because hooves aren't the most important thing, although good hooves can make a very good drawing. Here you can see me saving my document, forgetting where my saves are. Saving it. Once it's saved, I probably should have saved it earlier on. Save, because your computer can crash, no matter how reliable it is. Right, I put that all into one group, and now you'll see me start on the main. Basically, I do an original sketch in purple, and this is where I try and copy the original design. And it's really basic sketch lines, it's nothing particularly masterful. And then I create a new layer in a second when I get around to it. New layer, and I change to blue. These are my personal colours, don't copy them, they're not great colours always. I forget, set your opacity to about 80 because hair, although it's not physically see-through, because it's so thin, it does create a slightly opaque effect. Not opaque, other one, translucent effect, especially in shadows, so putting it slightly more translucent really helps. Yep, so just draw it in. This bit cannot be avoided, you've just got to draw hair, which sucks. I have my brush on size 3, which is 3 pixels, and I found that works really well for this size. I'm sure people do it smaller, some people do it bigger, I've seen a lot of people, they do block and then they just smudge the end of the tail and mane to make it all furry, but I don't like doing that. I used to do that, I do admit, when I used to draw, but I quickly got bored of doing that because for me personally, I can't get good results out of it. And I know people can because I've seen quite a few, especially on Facebook. So yeah, just drawing in loads of hairs, which is never fun. To get my shadows and highlights, I repeat what I did on the body, which is creating a new layer, calling it, naming it, and then using multiply, using black on 5% opacity, and drawing in the shadows. Hair, to learn how to shade hair, I'm not the best at it. Best thing to do is look at loads of drawings and just keep practicing. Just keep doing it over and over again. This is me thinking about where I should put shadows. Just keep practicing. You just got to draw. There's no way, I've never found a tutorial that's really made me go, oh, that's how you do it. Because I think everyone has their own style of drawing hair. And this is mine. And it's not the most effective. Now for my highlights, use white and use it on overlay. And just go in and do the highlights. As annoying because it's quite laborious as it goes for drawing. My favourite part is colouring, but you don't do a lot of that with Snafflez, but oh well. And then I took a sample of the actual hair and just colour it in using the layer lock. And you know, what's fantastic about using the highlights and the shadows using multiply and overlay is if you've got a two-tone mane or tail, you don't have to go in and reshade it because it works on dark, light, any colour. It's fantastic. I just find it the best way. That's the best way I've found for a long time to shade and highlight. Okay, now what I'm doing is I created a layer below the rest of the layers and put my opacity on about 70 using a thick sort of brush and just filling in the colours. Just a slightly lighter shade than the colour I used to actually colour the strands. And just make it slightly darker on stuff like the actual tailbone, around the dock, and then around the root of the mane. Just neatening it up with the rubber. And then I'm just going to merge them and put them into my group and put them above that so you can see it all together. So this is where I'm kind of finishing up. So I'm going to do a background, I think, at this point. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the dorsal stripe, and I felt really bad about it. I was like, oh, quickly. I never noticed, and then I realised I was on a video, so you will notice. Yeah, I basically did that exactly the same as I did all the other markings. Now this is where I played about with background colours for quite a while. I found some little marks, so I had to find out what layer they're on and just get rid of them because they were driving me mental. I kept playing with colours, and I was like, no, you can't see the markings, but oh, that's really pink. And then I was like, oh, that's quite nice. I think this is what I stuck with, I think. Finishing up, neatening up the backgrounds. This is where I do shadows. So duplicate your group, which is duplicating the whole horse, and then merge group. That allows you to then have one layer which is just